Okay, we're good.
Okay, I guess we'll call for order 6:05. All right, HVAC project update. What's the latest schedule?
So,
Which seat?
both of you can have it.
Well, the good news is Saturday, as we briefly discussed before the meeting, there's a crane pick, and he's got everything except 3 rooftop units by train, and those are still scheduled to ship October 18th. So he's got those, a couple other rooftop items, and then inside on the domestic side for the hot water, the water heaters are in. So they're gonna rig those into the boiler room, get the old ones out. And all the, the oil pump and the other stuff that goes with those, and then you can start working on building that, putting that together, so.
They put a curb up there this weekend too, right?
Yeah, part of RTU1, there's a special curve that goes under it, so, he's getting there. As soon as the materials get here, he's working on getting them up where they go and so forth, so.
They've been wiring like crazy for the building. Pulling wire everywhere.
Then after this happens this weekend, of course, next week they'll start wiring up the new equipment that just got installed and get to a point where startup will begin and pre-function checklist with the commissioning agent and so forth, and get them more involved in the project.
They did a lot of pre-wiring, so that's pretty good. So yeah, through the loops in some spots. So, yeah. Once the stuff is here, I think it'll be a fairly quick connect is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna really take it, because they've been on it as far as that goes.
What's the capabilities going to be without the 3 remaining units left? Can you put the rest of them online, or does the whole system have to be?
No, those.
Yeah, they're all separate systems for each unit.
The only thing they have to do is bypass those 3 for heat, which they know already, and they know the heat has to be on by October 15th. That's the rule, not our rule. That's the rule.
And he'll have that through the baseboard system for the whole school. Because as we just said, they're not shipping until the 18th, so.
And the rooms that didn't have heat already have heat.
Yeah.
They're already online as far as that they have AC and heat already. The rooms that didn't have it last year.
They're gonna ship on 10/18, Steve?
That's what he's got out here for that.
There a change order?
So, change order work and budget impact. So there, the good news is we're on budget. They're starting to wrap up the work. Teachers are identifying like, well, are we going to change that register there because that's really noisy? And so those were not necessarily on. We didn't get into every single element of the project. We took care of what we had identified as the major components of the HVAC. So John Lucier of ATC and his team, they're going to put together, and I think there's another where we could convert to some baseboard.
Yeah, we have some hot water, fan coil hot water heaters hanging in some of the classrooms down on the senior high wing, and there's a couple in the junior high wing. And they're fairly noisy at times, but they can convert those to baseboard, and it'd be probably pretty reasonable. And now's the time to do it if we're ever going to do it. Some of those rooms already have baseboard. We can just take those out.
Well, that's where all the big garage doors were.
Exactly.
Remember?
It was
So
all-
they couldn't run baseboard.
Right, now they can.
So we've asked John to take the balance, to take the budget, or take, cost, budget, balance, and then present, hopefully we'll present a list of, hey, these are items you could do that would, benefit, and you'll still be within budget. But I think we're probably a couple of weeks away from that.
Yeah, the engineer, they walked the job the other day. He's gonna come up with some narratives and a few sketches, and then John can get them priced and really give a menu of stuff that, the committee could select off of. Yeah, this makes sense, with Steve's recommendations and so forth to do this stuff. If it doesn't increase the budget and the money's there, and, knowing that you're gonna get some reimbursement for it's a good time to do it.
So that's that part there. Commissioning agent access to network. So that's really, Jeremy and Joe is in the room, so that's on your part of the connecting with the commissioning agent and figuring out how they can get into our network to start to do all their testing. Because this system will be fully remote.
Yeah, I'll be able to run it from my
You'll be able to
house.
run it on your apps,
Run on yourself.
Exactly.
run on your cell phone, your computer. But in order to do a lot of that testing, you're gonna need, and it goes from, it can run remote to very technical real quick, which is.
Is there a date for this? When you, I mean, we can do it. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably the sooner the better, and the contractor will need, his controls guy
Okay.
will need it as well, so.
He's here tomorrow, the controls guy has been here this
Yeah.
week. And I can hook you up with him if you want.
Yeah.
I can at least tell you kind of what he's looking for, it's probably just a IP address or something to get to your BMS system.
Yeah, you've met him before, he's been down there before, but he's here now.
It's the guy from ATC, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then there's a commissioning agent from Stephen Turner, he'll need the same access, so.
Okay.
We'll do a lot of his checks and stuff remotely. The good thing about this contractor having it is, as he's completing, or, you know, Steve could have an issue one day, you make the call to ATC, they can go online and look at it and see what's going on, better diagnose, you know, potential issues. And then there will be a point that you'll cut them off, just, you know, because you don't want them on there forever, of course, but.
Next item is budget schedule draw.
I don't know, Tiff, you wanna give a rundown on what we've been doing, so.
Yeah, so we, Monica submitted Rec 3 to, the state this week, just yesterday. And, the checks, that were part of Rec 3 were cut yesterday as well. So ATC with their
Stephen
check,
Turner and those
Yeah.
guys.
yeah.
Yep, so the
Well, it was
process,
like a reimbursement to Dallas
Right.
for Turner.
you know, the process is the invoices come in, we review them for accuracy. Lewis signs off on the contractor's invoice for ATC, so you have a couple set of eyes on it. And then we package together with the ride information, they get a package a certain way. We get that to Bob and Tish, they get it signed by the superintendent, then it comes back to us and gets submitted to ride. And then gets that whole process going for them to get your reimbursement back to the town.
Okay,
So
so,
that I should say.
so let me ask a question, because, you know, and I heard that, I heard last night's school committee meeting that this had been submitted. Building committee is no longer has any say in the,
I was just gonna ask.
Invoices,
These
because,
invoices that we talked about a month ago, or these different invoices? Maybe 2 months ago, when was that?
I think it was 2 meetings.
Well, we're up to, this is Rec 3, and it's, I mean, do we want to hold, I guess I'm asking the committee, do we want to hold before we have the OPM and the architect sign off, then bring them here for a review here?
Your charter says you have to.
Okay, I get that, I understand that, but the question is that what we want to do? Do we want to bring those recs here?
I think you need to, otherwise you're violating.
I mean, I'm not confused because I thought we said that that meeting 2 months ago, that the process going forward was going to be the open review and it would come here. So if it's been rec since that meeting, what happened?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we discussed, James, you're right on the money.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the whole idea of having to get it submitted so we get the payment. I know everyone wants to go fast, but, you know, you have laws you have to follow.
I want to be clear with them. We are not breaking the Let's see if I can connect to that. But I mean, so let's be clear on this. So Rec 4, Pencil Rec 4 is in the works, Steve,
Yep,
and do you know where that is?
that's in Wells right now, then, you know, Lewis has it as well, so. I mean, I would suggest that that's the process, you know, maybe we get it to that ride level. And, or before the superintendent's signature, and then the committee, you know, says, yes, it's okay. And it gets signed by him and it can go in.
I mean,
I guess really anywhere in the process is
Well,
fine.
I think that
we have the owner's project manager, and that is a plus in this particular case and on this particular project because of the requirements. So essentially, you're representing the best interests of the school district. However, maybe this is another opportunity to look closely at that charter and get that language adjusted. You know, if we had an OPM, I don't know that it's a major problem, but if we're doing stuff and we don't, it might be. And right now, I know what the charter says, so.
so. I guess again, I don't have an issue regardless. I think we have to understand that. So let's just assume right now we're meeting once a month. It may be, depending on the arrival of the requisition, we may have to have a meeting just to approve the requisition.
The people who can vote can.
Yeah, so people have to be here. I mean, that's,
You say it's long before I was in the committee, that for certain projects, they authorize some member of the committee or somebody to approve certain amounts that have already been within budget, or was that for change orders?
No,
that was kind of change orders, James. I think like you could approve up to $5,000.
Before,
Yeah.
I mean, there's by Rhode Island state purchasing law, they can approve up to $5,000 without.
Right.
The school committee, I mean, the administration can do that. Beyond $5,000, everything has to go through the appropriate committee. The school committee's already approved the money for this project, but now it's up to the building committee to make the decision. And let's just say that the building committee isn't happy with the performance of the contractors. Well, our only tool to get the contractors to perform is to withhold payment. And if that authority is being usurped, we have no control over it. And that, which means why sit here? Why waste our time?
So on the 7/21, July 21st, it was reported the first requisition for pay-go reimbursements were prepared and submitted to ISBA for approval and payment.
And that was approved by the committee before it went. We gave you authorization to submit it. It was presented, wasn't final, but was presented, and we said, based upon, go ahead and submit. I remember that. That was the meeting where we were still virtual. But since then, I haven't seen any. And round 3 submitted and round 4 is coming. So round 2 we missed. And round 3.
So tell me what you want. Do you want like copies of so the way it comes through is there is because we don't do, the district, the owner does nothing with the requisitions until the OPM is signed off, the architect is signed off, and the OPM has prepared the ride reimbursement form. Those are sent to us. And then the superintendent signs off based on everything that I just said. I can hold those, forward those to the committee in an email, I guess. And then, depending on where it falls in the calendar, we would call a meeting to approve the requisition. So that we would have a vote on record that the building committee approved the requisition.
I would say that that's necessary at the moment.
Unless
The
you-
building committee could also look at it before the OPM, like at any point in the process, and approve it pending approval by everybody else. So that gives you a bigger window.
I mean, I'm not so worried about the window. In most construction projects I'm involved in, have a monthly deadline for all contractors to submit invoices. If you don't make it by the 15th.
It's next.
Right.
Tomorrow.
And so this is kind of what I'm getting into, is that we have to be aware that if a requisition is not approved in a timely fashion, kind of what you were just saying, James, a variation of that, then you have to acknowledge that that could stop production. ATC has enough float where they can keep paying their subs to keep them going. But I suspect that when we get to the roofing job and when we get to the classroom, that's not going to be the case.
No, because it won't be.
You're not going to have, it's going to be smaller contractors without the horsepower. I mean, Lucier sat on a $1.4 million invoice for probably over 30 days. And they were able to keep the subs going at a time when we needed them going. So it's not like there's no thought to this. You know, it's like, we got to keep this train moving. So my point is here is that listening to what Jeremy just said, yeah, we could certainly do that. I don't know the value in the committee vetting something that hasn't been vetted by the OPM and the architect. Because that's why we're paying them. Once they vet it, say, here, you guys look at it. If it's good, then it's good. We call a meeting and we approve it and we pay it.
Well, I've also been involved with several projects around here where we didn't withhold money. Things wouldn't have gotten done the way they were supposed to get done.
Did we have we didn't have a commission agent in OPM back then, right?
No, I
I
already prefaced.
I know that, I'm just saying, this is a good thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, at first I wasn't all on board with it, and I don't think you were either.
Huh?
I don't think everybody was on board with having them, but I think it's been a good.
I appreciate the expertise. I appreciate the expertise when it doesn't exist. I don't see the need on some of the smaller stuff. On stuff like this, where you need to have somebody who's an expert and has eyes on it all the time, I agree. And I preface that, you know, we have not had this luxury in the past.
You're right. You're absolutely.
But at the same time, I also saw a lot of benefit to the committee saying, whoa, wait a minute. This wasn't done right, and until it's done right, no money, because otherwise, and a tennis court over there is a complete total disaster. So it finally wound up being perfect, but not until we had a lot of struggles and strife over it. And then I was involved in the earlier renovation of this building, the $6 million bond project, and I sat through all those committee meetings, and I watched how Jim Wallahusian and Bob Butler and a few other folks handled it, and it was handled very well. But again, if they had withheld money in certain cases, the school district would have taken it on the chin. So, you know, I have faith in the OPM, but at the same time, we also have documents that say this is how the process is supposed to work. And I think that we have to abide by those documents. It means we have to meet, or we have to find a way to approve them, to keep the train moving, as Bob said, we've got to do. Until such time as the document is revised.
Can that be through an email chain, any kind
We
of?
can't approve it pretty much.
No, we can't.
No.
I mean, we can get the documents so that if we have to set a quick meeting, you know, a few days after, to post the agenda, you know, it'll be a quick meeting.
You can call an emergency meeting also without having to go through all the postings. You know, if it's truly an emergency, you could call an emergency meeting and do a rapid assessment. I mean, the state allows that provision. You know, if the train's about slowing on brakes or
So,
We'll send it forward after. the-
yeah, so I'm just trying to think of Rec 4, where that is, because Rec 5 is like, behind.
how many wrecks are there in this thing? Because, you know,
Well, there's basically one a month. That's what it comes down to. So
So it's not-
by the end of the month, we can have the paperwork ready. And I still suggest get it to a ride submission point, so it's ready. And, you know, maybe I'm just looking on the calendar. If you just set up your meetings to be regular, like the second, just picking a day, second Tuesday of every month, you know, and it was approved on that day, and then everything goes out, it still gives the board at least 15 to 18 more days, you know, within the payment cycle to get the payment out to the trade. You know, so like Rec 4 right now is for September. And we just got it, and they project the work to the end of the month. And we review, assemble, get Louis' involvement on it, and then get it over to, you know, that's probably about a week's time in there, so by the second week, you could be ready, so. Or you just call them, to Bob's suggestion, as needed, you know. But it needs to be early in the month versus later, that's all. Or you'll just start running long on getting payments out. And like,
you are correct, you could approve by email, but you run the risk of having a rolling email, which is more.
Yeah.
Hmm?
You can't approve by email.
You can't,
Right.
okay, but you could, as long as it wasn't a rolling email. Like if you sent out one, each individual, and then individually responded back, I would think you could do that.
I don't think we can.
Okay. So I'll send everybody out all the recs that we've done to date for ATC. It's about, the total spent so far on a $4.7 million project is 2.1. The OPM and the commissioning agent, again, they're all within budget. I'd put that at probably less than $100,000 in total. I'll forward those packets out. When we get the rec, the next requisition in totality, are we agreeing that we want to sign off and like basically Jeremy suggested it could happen at any point. What's the point of which the will of the committee to have it sent to them after a review by the OPM and the architect? Or
Yeah, I think the Steve suggested.
then we can send that in a discussion with the, and then we can just look at the calendar and see if it necessitates a second meeting of the month. Right now, we're meeting pretty much on the third or fourth.
Yeah, I think we might, like you said, if they just moved earlier, it's a standard AIA rep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the contractors, we just have a one-page invoice, and Stephen Turner's are one-page invoices. It's not a lot to look at.
No, I understand.
Like Bob said, he could get it out, obviously, before the
One of those
meetings.
small contractors, that's where the problems tend to happen, they don't realize they have the rep. It's not an AIA form before. And I just, that one. there's wide submission schedules.
That's what we see.
Okay, so for the three different, can you hear me?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So for the three different projects that we're dealing with, the roof repair, the site package, and general contract for the roof repair, the roof is designed and we sent it off to cost estimation. We got that back. The site package, we expect to go to cost estimating in the next 2 weeks. And then for the general contract where we've been working on it, I know the the theater consultant met with the school reps Monday. We're scheduling a meeting with the ADA reps from the state. We expect that to be next week, and then we can kind of move forward with that. In terms of ride submissions, they're going to be separate submissions, and we expect that the roof repair will be next month, and then the other two would be in 2 months, within 2 months.
On the roof, did you guys look at metal as an alternative?
Yes, we did. I can tell you the difference, just 1 second. In the cost estimation for Wawalome, the difference between the base bid, which was the shingle roof versus metal roofs, it was 1,300,000, about that. And then for Metcalf, the difference between the base bid and then the metal roof was 1,997,000.
So the metal roof was more.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. Those were the ads. So with the metal roof for Wawalone, the total would have been $2,979,968, and then with just the regular shingle, it would have been $1,660,000.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because right now, asphalt shingles are a lot more than the steel pieces. I mean, I just did it. I saved myself about, a small roof, obviously, only about 4 square, but I saved myself over $1,000 using metal. And that's with all the trim pieces and everything else, so. That doesn't make any sense. What are you using to estimate this?
What do we use? We used a third party cost estimators, PMNC. They provided the estimate for it.
And how does it get, and the labor to put down a metal roof is a lot less than the labor to put down shingles. Metal goes very quick, especially if you pre-drill.
You could still put it in as an alternate, get actual bid price.
Yeah, I want that. I want that, because right now, it makes sense, and the metal roof will be there. I mean, I can tell you right now, this is the second time in 14 years that we're addressing the roofs on these buildings. That's crazy.
I think the metal roof is a great idea. The only problem that I think we may run into is the sound that the metal roof gives. I think that may be a problem when they have that consultant come in to do the acoustics. That's the only thing. I think the metal roof is great. I think it's foolproof.
Well, what do you got up there? You got asphalt with what underneath it? You got plywood, right?
Yeah.
So the metal with the plywood underneath it
I
is
don't
going to be a
know.
little quiet.
That's the only thing I think that Ryan may look at because of sound. I think it's a great replacement. I love it.
I don't think that's going to be an issue.
That's one thing I think we have to look at.
But I think that, I think we're foolish if we don't really take a good hard look at it right now. And I don't know, I mean, we estimate, I'm in the steel business. I mean, I'm a machine shop. I mean, we're dealing with the numbers every day, and they're all over the place. But the asphalt right now is just ridiculous. Primarily because of oil.
Like you said, get a cost estimate.
Yeah, just put it on alternate.
Well, what I don't want is to see it go up, you know, well, we're gonna build this route and then we're, you know, locked in, so. I don't want to see that. So I don't know how it's gonna be submitted, but I'd like to see it submitted. If it's gotta be submitted first, I'd like to see it, you know, submitted with that as an alternative as well. So we're not locked in before we get to.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the alternates if you're looking to save money and it is a money saver. I like to see that stuff. When it goes out to bid, it's already in the design both ways.
I mean, even if it's close, I mean, if I'm,
Yeah,
if I don't have to worry
yeah.
about it for 30 years versus, you know, this is the second time in 14 years. I mean, how, if it cost me $1 million 14 years ago, it cost me $1 million now, that's 2 million, and it cost me 2 million to put a roof on, I'm not gonna have to touch it for 30 years, I think I'm ahead.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not giving
Not
it more
ahead,
either.
What about the orientation of the greenhouse? You gonna look into that last one? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Louis reported at the last meeting that
Yeah.
he met with, I think URI and so forth.
They're gonna move it.
They're gonna move it.
They're gonna rotate it so that it's more accurate.
So that's good.
Yes. That'll make a whole bunch of people happy.
Get it right.
What was the final orientation?
East west.
East west?
Is there anything else on the ride submission schedule?
Nothing else, just what I reported about it.
Anyone have anything else? Yeah.
You all have a good evening.
Oh, yeah.
I know what I'm doing.